Let's finish off 2024 by recapping all of the games from New Year's Eve. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and after consulting with the weather wall, I can tell that the player comfort level is off the charts. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshlloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Go to LockedOnDaily.com and find the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team, LockedOnDaily.com. And you can find that newsletter and get all the information on your favorite team sent directly to your email inbox. We're here ready to get the last recap of 2024, even though it is 2025 here and it has been for a while. This is the recap for 2024 New Year's Eve, December the 31st. Yep, that's what we're doing, December the 31st. So let's get into it. 6 games are on. It is public domain day, so you're going to see a bunch of stuff that is now in the public. Maybe I should go through what's hitting public domain and see what I can use on the show. And then you can't get me, can you? If I play the sounds, can't do it. We'll see. Probably not. Let's look at some news updates. What things sort of happened after I did the preview show earlier today. Keegan Murray, who I did have on the Buy Low, Sell High show, said, man, this guy sucks at the moment. He is doubtful with ankle soreness, so he's not going to play. What they do in his place is really intriguing because their depth is horrendous. I don't think they're going to go super small and start DeRozan at the 4, and that would mean Alice plays more or Herter plays more. I don't think so. It'll probably be like Doug McDermott, I guess. Jay Crowder will play a little bit more. Trey Lyles could start at the 4. Maybe he's an interesting streamer, but yeah, that's pretty rough. Klay and Kyrie both missed the last game, but they're not even on the injury report for the Mavericks. Derek Lively's questionable, but Klay and Kyrie are ready to return. So your value of, in your double onyxes, your Jaden Ivies or Quentin Grimes drops a bit. I'm still interested in Dinwiddie, but those guys coming back impacts a lot of that stuff. Embiid is sitting on Wednesday, just to catch you up on that. We did cover that part of it. Embiid will sit on Wednesday and play on Thursday. Cam Thomas will also sit on Wednesday, but he will play on Thursday for the Brooklyn Nets. But D'Angelo Russell is ready to make his Nets re-debut, which is not a real word, but you know what I mean. How has this ever, I've never done a search on this, I'm sure someone's seen it reported. Has a player ever been traded from one team to another team twice? Like Russell was traded from the Lakers to the Nets as part of the Brook Lopez deal, and then obviously now traded from the Lakers to the Nets as part of the Dorian Finney-Smith deal. So has a player ever gone from Team X to Team Y twice? Seems really unlikely that would be the case, but I don't know. Maybe someone's got more information on that than I do. Let's take a look at where some waiver wire trends have gone across the fantasy basketball landscape over the last 48 hours. The most added players, number 1 and number 2, both played for the Clippers. They had the Monday, Tuesday back-to-back, so it does make some sense. Chris Dunn has been playing some pretty big minutes in a lot of these games. Derek Jones Jr. played some... His minutes vary. Of course, they got cooked today by the Spurs. We'll talk about that later. But that made sense to try those guys out and see what you could get. Max Christie with the Lakers of the game today. He'd been playing really well also. How it all impacts with Dorian Finney-Smith, well, we'll talk about that with the Lakers game later on. Dylan Brooks, one of the most added players. He's off the injury report, so he's going to be available to play, so that's good news for Brooksy, and he is playing at a very high level. Don't think that it lasts, but I don't mind adding him in. Justin Champagny, not sure people added him after last game and Kyle Kuzma returning. I don't think he's a 12-team league player. And the last one is Andrew Nembhard, who showed us some of the folly in what he provides in today's action. We'll talk about that soon. But he still should be on rosters. I don't think there's much real debate about that. Most drop player, Larry Nance, he's out for ages. That's cool. Royce O'Neal, he's out today, and Booker's returning, so we don't worry about that one. Jaime Jaquez, yep, I get it. Like, he's not playing well. They do have a nice little back-to-back coming up, so I wouldn't mind re-grabbing him just for the Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's been dropped, and this is what you should be doing with KCP. When the Magic play, you add him. When the Magic don't play, you drop him. He's not reliable at all. Buddy Hield is not even someone I'd probably add when the Warriors have a good schedule, to be honest.
Get that garbage out of here!
He's been very, very bad, and I don't think there's any real hope for him this season. And TJ McConnell, with the minutes down for him across the board, players returning from injury, yeah, he's not a persistent and consistent 12-team league player. And again, that one I think is relatively straightforward. There were the 2 early games on New Year's Eve. The first one of those games was the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Indiana Pacers. Giannis returned, and Bobby Portis went to the bench. But it didn't really matter for Bob. He still played a lot of minutes, and that has not been anywhere close to what the case has been all season. But it did happen here. So Portis goes to the bench. He plays 31 minutes. He has 14 and 15 with 2 steals. He didn't shoot very well, but he is on a huge, huge hot streak at the moment. Now, I don't expect that there's going to be most nights that Brook Lopez plays 24 minutes and he's like a minus 14 while Portis is a plus 15. But that's basically what happened here. So this is a perfect... I didn't include him on the sell high today, but the fact that he did this with Giannis back, Bobby Portis, is a great argument in terms of a sell high. Giannis, in his return, 30 and 12. No blocks, but 2 steals. Pretty good game apart from the free throws as per usual. And Brookie had 16 and 5 in his low minutes. And I think maybe the biggest talking point here, not that Damian Lillard was bad, with 9 points, 3 threes on 21% and 2 steals, because that's not particularly good. But he had been absolutely frying blokes prior to today. The news to me is Chris Middleton played 31 minutes. Giannis was back. Middleton played 31. He had 15, 6, and 7, and only shot 36%. So, yeah, theoretically, this could have been a lot better. I wasn't sure we'd get 30 minutes for him before February, honestly. And here we are. Good minutes. Solid production. The worry you're going to have is an injury. But honestly, with Middleton, most of the time, it's like some random off-season surgery that causes the delayed start to the season. And hopefully, we don't get a random delayed start to the season in the middle of the season. That would be pretty weird. Shout out to COVID. So, yeah, we're looking pretty good here for Middleton, which is, again, a little bit of a surprise. It was Gaz Trent over Big Boom AJ Green in this one. 29 minutes for Trent, 16 for Green, 4 threes for Trent, 3 for Green. But that stuff is not reliable on a game-by-game basis. They change that up all the time. On the other side of this ledger, the Pacers, I didn't tell you the final scores, 120-112. For the Pacers, Aaron Nesmith still remains out. We'll start with Nembhard, one of the more added players, and he didn't do very much. 32 minutes, 10, 2, and 3 on 29%. But what is interesting is the fact that he took 14 shots. He had a 21 usage. The minutes are strong. He's not taking over this team or anything along those lines. He's not this superstar or anything like that, but he's locked in as a starter. He's solid enough value. There's going to be ups and downs, absolutely. And this was a down, but that's okay. Obi Toppin played 12 minutes only. We don't need to be rostering Obi Toppin in 12s. And I know the consternation will be around, again, Tyrese Halliburton. He's had so many weird, bad shooting nights, and he did it again. But again, it's annoying. His production hasn't been what we wanted, but he played 39 minutes. That's a big check. He had 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. That's all really good. He just had 12 points on 13 shots, which is horrible, clearly. But the other stuff's all in line. So while it's bad, and there's been too many of these bad games, I'm not like distraught over it. I'm not, really, really beaten up about how bad the shooting is. Because he's been better. This is not great though. Benedict Mathurin has been bad for a period of time, but this was a good one. 25 and 9 with 3 threes, a steal and a block, and huge volume, and hit his shots apart from the line for some reason, which is usually one of his strengths. I still think we're looking at him more as a stream guy. And the same goes with Jarris Walker. Hello. 16 minutes for Jarris, 11 points, 3 steals and a block. Those minutes are strong. He played more than Obi Toppin. They're not strong, sorry. They're okay. They're surprising to see him play more than Toppin. But we're not looking at him in anything more than a deep league guy or even a desperation steal streamer. McConnell had 6, 4, and 5 with 2 steals. If you stream TJ McConnell and you get 5 assists and 2 steals out of it, I think you consider it a win. Now, you wouldn't want to hold on to him all the way through that, but getting 5 assists and 2 steals off a waiver player that you've added in is useful. But that's sort of how we view him, I think, from here. And Siakam had 20 and 7 with bad percentages and added 4 assists. Fine sort of stuff. We're going to start it now. We're going to start it today. It starts. Ben Shepherd free throw watch. Man has played over 400 minutes this season, hasn't attempted a single free throw. None again today. He started games. No free throws. That is an outrageous stat. So we are, much like I think we did this with Luke Kennard last season about how he hadn't missed for like a year and a half. Maybe it was Tony Snell. There was someone who just hadn't missed in like a ridiculous length of time. Ben Shepherd, we're on free throw attempt watch. Has not attempted one all season. So that is one of our big focuses. It's surely an important focus, obviously. One of our big focuses as we move forward here. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket RX. It's the new year. Maybe you're looking to celebrate. Maybe you don't have that confidence or to celebrate the way you might want. But if you're looking to take control in the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX offers FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost than the branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor visits and or pharmacy trips because you can get it delivered straight to your door in discreet and plain packaging. With Rocket RX, you get trusted care from a real US clinical team. Complete a quick 100% online consultation and you can get your free prescription today. So go to rocketrx.com to get started now. It only, unlike you, takes 2 minutes. Right now, our listeners can get 40% off your first order when you use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That is rocketrx.com. Code is LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off your first order. Terms and conditions apply. Rocket RX, better sex made simple. So, next game, Raptors and Celtics. And as much crap as I give to Toronto and to Canada in general, it's all in jest. It's not real. And actually, this is like, I feel bad, man, because they got killed. Like, that is 125-71, a 54-point dropping. And now they have to go and play again on New Year's Day. It feels like I was making the schedule for Toronto. Said, all right, the only team's going to suffer here. You play the best team in the NBA, then no New Year's Eve celebrations, and then you go back to Canada to play on New Year's Day. How could I make it worse? It's like, so you like donuts, eh? How about all the donuts you can eat? Yeah, that stinks, man. They had no dick in this game. Grady was also out, and RJ Barrett was out in this one with that illness. So they started Gary Trent III, Jacoby Walter, and Davion Mitchell jumped back into the starting lineup. Obviously, it didn't help them because they got cooked by the Celtics. And I'm not sure how much we can take away from this. Not only were the Raptors missing 3 starters, and we got an update on quickly, which is not a good one. He's still not doing contact work in practice. Oh, okay, bro, might want to do something. And I don't know if these guys are going to play tomorrow. Quickly won't, but I don't know if Barrett or Dick are going to be out there. And Bruce Brown's probably not going to be available to play on Wednesday either. So we just got a bunch of random other blokes getting extra minutes, and like, what do I take out of this? I'll tell you what I take out of it. I talked about Scotty Barnes being a buy low on the show today, saying the blocks aren't there, the rebounds are well down, the shooting is terrible compared to last season. Well, one of those things remained true. The shooting was terrible again. 37% from Barnes in his 16 and 13 double-double, but 13 rebounds. He blocked a shot. He had 2 steals. He only had 2 assists, but the shooting remains like a horrendous problem. He is a buy low, but again, our expectations, I think, need to be adjusted down. Jakob Poeltl, 7 and 13, not his best game, but yeah, not that bad. And then everyone else was that bad. No other player for the Raptors. Actually, that's not true. One player on the Raptors scored in double digits. One. How is that possible? No one scored 20 points. Barnes scored 16, leading scorer. Next highest is 9 points. One of those was Davion Mitchell. He had 9, 2, and 3. I just don't think we need to worry about Davion in any league. I'm very, very happy. Not happy is the wrong word, but I'm totally passing it off. If you want to drop Kelly Olynyk, you should.
Get that garbage out of here.
In fact, nay, I demand it. Why would we be holding Kelly Olynyk at this point? It is going to require injuries. They are not going to be prioritizing him. He is not seemingly going to play any minutes at the 4. He played 9 minutes, Olynyk. 9 minutes 49 for 5 points. He needs 20. We are a long way away. And I wouldn't bother with Bruce Brown either, who had 6 points in 19 minutes. Now, people are still rostering these guys in sizable portions in 12-team leagues. And it's just holding on to past performances, and I don't think we need to do that. Boucher had 7, Shed had 5, but who cares about any of that? While Gary Trent III had 3 points on 10% shooting, Jacoby Walter. He is just so far away from being... I don't think he'll ever be a solid fantasy contributor, actually, because of the way his game profiles, but that's a secondary point. He's so far away, even in a start, we don't care about it. Abaji is back to being Abaji. He had 2 points on 14%, and we don't roster him. And Mobo played 6 minutes. Honestly, I don't think it could be worse than that overall box score for Toronto. But New Year's Eve can be a wonky day, and I think we got the wonkiest of wonks in that one. Drew Holiday returned for Boston. He pushed Sam Hauser back to the bench. And again, what am I taking out of this? Because no one needed to play big minutes. The most minutes was 29 for Tatum. Everyone was solid enough. That would happen when you win by 50. Drew got his 3 steals, which is fine. Still maintain, not a points league must. Category leagues, it depends. But I'm not really judging much out of here. I am judging again that what is Al Horford doing? Missed all 7 of his shots. No points. He did have 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals, which is all pretty good, right? And you expect him to hit some shots. The other stuff was fine. But only 20 minutes. Back-to-back coming up. low minutes in a lot of games. We do not roster Al Horford in 12-team leagues, clearly.
Get that garbage out of here.
Hauser had 12 points. Pritchard had 19, 6, and 4 with 3 steals. But there is almost... The takeaway out of this is, like, the Celtics are good. The Raptors are terrible. Al Horford's not a must-roster guy. You can drop most of those Raptors guys. You're keeping Barnes and Pirtle, and I don't think you need to be having Dick. You hold on to Barrett, and that's for 12s, and otherwise it's all just pretty, like... It's pretty grim, if we're going to be honest, about where that team sits and what they need to do, and it's probably getting a little bit underreported how bad things are at the moment for Toronto. I don't know what it's like up in Canada. Like, when you guys get, like, power back and stuff and are able to turn on TVs, what are people saying about the Raptors? Is there much negative focus on it? Because it's not good, obviously. The next game was also not good, as the Spurs just took it to the Clippers. 122-86 is your final score. The sell high slump hit Norm Powell smack in the face. And I talked about this yesterday and again today. And someone's like, man, just stop talking about Norm Powell, man. You just upset that you didn't draft him. You don't need to hear about it every day. Well, you sort of do, because it's my job, right? So I sort of do need to talk about when I think things are changing or if they're changing and things that are going under the radar. And I talked about how Powell's shooting had already started to regress and he was making up for it with an unbelievably high usage. And then if that shooting goes back to normal levels and the usage falls away, we might be in a little bit of trouble. Now, he still is somehow maintaining 2 steals. He got another 2 steals here, pal. But 33% shooting, 15, 5, and 2 with 3 threes. It's not a terrible game at all. It's totally fine. But it's not the guy that was cooking everybody. A lot of people are very worried about Jim Harden. I'm not as worried. Look, 25 minutes, the game's a blowout. The shooting numbers for him remain horrible. This is actually one of his better shooting games, 46%. The thing that's a bit worrying for Harden at the moment is the assists are all disappearing. It's not that he's necessarily passing less. It's just that other players aren't hitting as many shots. I think that's a major part of it. 17, 3, and 1, a steal and a block doesn't really cut it. Again, it's not a bad line. He's in a downturn for sure, and Kawhi's going to have somewhat of an impact on him, but I don't think Kawhi coming back is going to necessarily mean that his assists stay low. That could easily jump back up. It's more about how the shot attempts look. So I'm not actually that worried about where Harden sits. Chris Dunn, who'd been getting big minutes, didn't, but neither did anybody. He had a steal, he had 7 points. Ty Lue waved the white flag so early in this game. Derek Jones did nothing. Zubats had 5 and 7. Kevin Porter, we absolutely do not roster Kevin Porter in 10 or 12-team leagues. 2 points, 13 minutes. We got 12 Kobe Brown minutes, all garbage time stuff. We got 7 Mo Bamba minutes, which is garbage time. 17 Bones Highland minutes, garbage time. 2 steals and 5 rebounds from Jordan Miller, garbage time stuff. Basically, from about midway through the third quarter, this game was done. It was done earlier, but Ty Lue was like, yeah, this is done. And just a bunch of reserves coming into that spot. So not a lot, I don't think, that you're taking out of it, realistically, from any side of the discussion. The Spurs rolled out the same starting group again, which, cool. But they might not do that in the next game because Jeremy Sohan left the game with a back issue in the first half, didn't return in the second half. We monitor that. They started Steph Castle in the second half, and it was a pretty good game from Steph. He had 15, 4, and 4. He shot really well, which is usually not what he does. And his minutes had dwindled. He was under 10 minutes a game. I wouldn't rush to add Steph Castle. Like, he is, like, not very good. He's 252nd in fantasy leagues this season, despite averaging, like, I think it's 28 minutes a night. He's not a good fantasy contributor. I have no idea whether Sohan's even going to miss any time or not. And I wouldn't rush to go and add Castle. If I'm going to add anybody, it probably would be Julian Champagny. Now, Champagny also didn't do much. He had 9 points in 16 minutes. But at least he's got a track record of being good. Devin Vassell, 8 and 3 and 29% shooting. The pencil, Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. Another solid game, 11 points with 3 threes for him. He does 2 of those in a row, and we don't expect much more. We don't need to roster him. We hold Vassell. I'm not rushing to add Castle. We'll see what happens with the Sohan spot. But again, minutes, production, in this one, it doesn't really matter because it was such a blowout. We had 17 Keldon Johnson minutes, whatever, or 17 points, 19 minutes. And Wemby still dropped to 27, 9, and 5 with 1 steal and 3 blocks. And Chris Paul had 3 steals in his time. But honestly, just, again, a huge blowout. Minutes are all over the shop. Not many fantasy takeaways, and we just hope now that Jeremy Sohan's okay. Today's episode is also brought to you by Rocket Money. We've all got subscriptions to something. TV, beauty products, food, whatever it is, right? And sometimes you just might not even understand or realize or remember the ones that you've got. So Rocket Money can help you find subscriptions that you forgot about, ones that you're paying twice for, and that can help save you money and reach your financial goals heading into 2025. Rocket Money is a personal finance app. It helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Whether it's subscriptions or spending habits or even the goals that you want to hit this year, Rocket Money has over 5 million users and saved a total of $500 million in cancelled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That is rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, let's do the next game. Finally, one that's not a huge blowout. The Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Thunder win at 113-105 on Minnesota's side. We got some interesting developments here in this game. We had Jaden McDaniels playing under 30 minutes. That's not that much of a surprise. 7-6 for him, and he just remains not a guy you want. He's a streaming player for 12s, and that is it. And then we got Donte DiVincenzo, who had been playing really well. And he shot 30%. But I'm not going to worry too much about that. And here's why. He played 30 minutes. He had 5 assists. That's all okay. He just shot poorly. The thing that was worrying with DiVincenzo was, he was shooting poorly, but he was getting 22 minutes, 21 minutes, 19 minutes, which isn't enough. 30 minutes, plenty. Just hold on to him. And it was actually a better game from Mike Conley. Although, again, I'm not going to get excited about it. Why? He played 23 minutes. He did have 16 points. That's why you can look at the surface numbers and go, oh my God, 16 points, Mike Conley. Why would I move off? 16, 4 assists, 2 steals. It's a great game. Yeah, sure, but he played 23 minutes. What's the likelihood of Mike Conley, who's played 24 minutes a game over the last 2 weeks and is 180th ranked player, what's the likelihood of him being this guy in 23 minutes? It's not there, right? So if you moved off of Conley, right decision. If you added DiVincenzo, right decision. And the roles backed you up on that today. Just the production was weird. Gobert had 8 and 7. He continues to really sort of struggle. He's not a drop, but it's not heading in the right direction. We only got 27 Julius Randle minutes and more minutes for Naz Reid. Now, the Thunder often can be wacky in terms of the way they force other teams to do things that are not normal for them. And that's what happened here, I think. Reid had 33 minutes, 19 and 8, 1 steal, 3 blocks. By far his best game of the season. Doesn't bring him inside the top 140, of course, but that's big. That's a huge game. That's really important. And it is obviously justification, I guess, for holding him for a little bit more. But again, when things happen against the Thunder, I'm not like, that's probably what's going to happen every game. Because it's just they do weird things to opposing teams. And I think that's probably more the takeaway here. And Edwards started off strong, but another disappointing game from Edwards. Goose had 20 points in 39 minutes. He had 4 threes. But no steals, 2 assists, 12 shots. It's been a really, really bad run of late for Anthony Edwards. Bad in comparison to what his usual level of production, or what we expect it to be, maybe more to the point. On the Thunder side of things, they just keep going, don't they? Same lineup out there for them again. Shea was ridiculous. Now, he didn't do a huge amount apart from the scoring. He had 40 points, which is awesome. Hit 3 threes, was unbelievably efficient, 65 from the field and 78 from the line. Well, that's not that good, but it's fine. But 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Just continues to be absolutely ridiculous at the moment. While Hartenstein had 15 and 10 with 2 blocks, a good game there. We always want to look to see if we can get a little bit more out of Jalen Williams, and we did. 14, 7 and 7, but now he can't hit free throws? 25% from the line? He did have 3 steals, so look, he's fine. We're good there. And the Hong Kong mattress, Cason Wallace, if you streamed him in, you got 7 assists and 5 steals, and it's not what you expect, but if you stream him in, you expect to get steals, and you expect to get some assists, and that's what you got. And Lou Dort gave you 14, 7 and 2, 4 threes, and a steal. 2 guys on the same team who are not must roster players, Wallace and Dort, but are going to be prime stream guys every single time they play. Wallace playing 32 minutes is also notable, and he only shot 13%, so it could have been a lot better. He's creeping back to being must roster. He's not, I don't think. But if you wanted to do it and hold on through it, I understand why you would. Very good game from him. Aaron Wiggins is back down to 14 minutes. Joe played 13. AJ Mitchell played 18. The bench stuff, it's a lot of the same sort of thing there without anything super exciting to go by. Alex Caruso didn't play, but realistically, the value's there in that top 5. And then it's about sort of determining what we're going to find with Wallace and Dort. All right, let's go to the final two games of the day. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Los Angeles Lakers. Easy win for the Cavs in the end. 122-110 your final score. Jarrett Allen, who was quiet for a period of time, and he's had a couple of really big games recently. 27-14, 3 blocks, great shooting, fantastic stuff. Garland also 14-14 with 2 steals, even though he didn't shoot well. And Donovan Mitchell had 26-4, even though he didn't shoot well. Mobley did his thing as well, but I guess that the big standout thing here was the fact that Max Strus actually had a huge game. 26 minutes for Struder, 15 points, 4 threes, 4 assists, and 2 steals. That's his first really big game since returning from the injury. I still don't think that you need to roster him. I know this is a good game, and if he did this every night, you'd be happy. But they've got so many different options. Now, I guess the thing here is that Sam Merrill did leave after 8 minutes, didn't return. Okoro is out, but still, I don't expect this to be an every night thing from Strus. Could be very wrong on that, and you could have the crack and have a look at it and add him and see where it goes. I don't think the upside is worth it overall for Strus to see what we do, and we stream him, sure, that's fine. But I don't think the upside is there as we've got to grab it and get ahead of it and wait and see where we go. I'd like to see 30 minutes a night from him before I look at him as a 12-team league player, and even then I think he's better than KCP, but KCP type adjacent of a player. Levert had 3 points only with a steal and a block. That sucks. And Dean Wade, who'd been putting up some okay numbers, didn't. He had 9 rebounds, which I guess is fine. He played 24 minutes, and that's the risk. He'd been playing well. He'd been putting up okay numbers. You could consider that a stream, but it's nothing that's going to get you overly excited. It's not going to gird your loins, which is a phrase that I do like saying. At the moment, anyway, it's a very time-specific phrase for me. I don't know why. Anyway, girding loins. Let's do it. The Lakers. They had the same group again, even though the new arrivals arrived. And we'll just start with the new arrivals because Dorian Finney-Smith played 20 minutes.
Get that garbage out of here.
It's unfair to judge players on their first game after getting traded, but not really. Finney-Smith was realistically not someone we cared about in 12-team leagues anyway. And he had 2 points in 20 minutes. So see you later. Rui Hachimura, 7-5, 30% shooting. Guess what we're going to do?
Get that garbage out of here.
Cool. And Dalton Connect had 4 points in 22 minutes. People are still somehow, according to our advanced roster metric, Dalton Connect and Dorian Finney-Smith have the same roster percentage. One of them has been good, and the other one is Dalton Connect. So I don't really know what's going on there.
Get that garbage out of here.
Anthony Davis have 28-13, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Love to see it. Austin Reaves, another absolute monster, 35, 9, and 10. And LeBron had 23, 4, and 7, which is, again, solid stuff. We wanted to see what impact there would be on Max Christie. No D'Angelo Russell, arrival of Dorian Finney-Smith. Wasn't a great game from Christie. 5-1, 2 assists, a steal. That's clearly not enough. If you wanted to hold, he's more of a 14-team league guy anyway. If you wanted to hold in 12's okay, but he realistically was a 14-team league player, and I think we hold him at 14-team leagues, and that's probably about it, I'd say. All right, final game up here. The Memphis Grizzlies with nobody available. They win. Well, that's not true. They've got some players available, but not many. They beat the Suns on the road, 117-112. I talked about this, I think, on the preview yesterday. I said it with all these guys out, it's going to be a real test to see what Taylor Jenkins can do as a coach. Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, it's an indictment on Phoenix, but it's also a huge praise towards Taylor Jenkins and the Grizzlies. So how do they do it? Well, they actually gave their players more minutes. Jaren played 38. He also scored 38 with 10 rebounds, 4 threes, 2 steals, and a block. Unbelievable. Desmond Bane, 31, 5, and 7. Huge game. We thought we'd be getting really good stuff from Scottie Pippen. We did not. 22 minutes, 2 points, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. The guy that got the minutes was the Duck, Luke Kennard. 29 minutes, 17, 7, and 4, 3 threes, and 2 steals. That's obviously really good from Kennard. It's hard to know, right? Pippen is a reserve. He's a solid enough reserve, but we've seen time and time again that even with guys out, they don't push him to gigantic minutes. Now, this is on the downside of the extreme of that. It's really low. And he didn't play well at all. But it doesn't mean that that's going to be the case every game. If you wanted to add Kennard, I don't know. We saw chances for him to do this last season. He was pretty mid at it. This is a really good game, don't get me wrong. But I don't think it's a realistic outcome from Kennard. Streaming, sure, no worries. But more of a 14-teamer. If you've got Pippen, I probably would hold. But I'm not going to get, if you dropped him, whatever. Johnny Conchard did it again. 7 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, steal on a block. He probably is worth a 12-team spot. And Jalen Wells hit his 2 threes, had 11 and 6 there. And Jay Huff didn't really do much. Even with Edie, Adama, Clark, Laravia, all those guys still out. We're not getting big stuff from Huff. So I think if you've got Pippen, you can hold. Conchar's worth a 12-team look. Kennard, borderline, probably more stream than anything else. But yeah, what a win overall for Memphis. But on the other side, it's bad for Phoenix. Devin Booker returned. Ryan Dunn went back to the bench. And of course, because they can't have their players play together, Bradley Beal lasted 12 minutes. He had a hip contusion. He had 3 points and 2 assists, and his body just can't really handle it anymore. It's continually something. Ankle, knee, calf, hip. There's something all the time at the moment, or for the last 2 years. You don't drop Bradley Beal, but yeah, he is really... We are strongly on washed watch here for Bealo. Mainly his body being washed. That sounds like, bathing rituals. Kevin Durant, 29, 10 and 6, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Great. Devin Booker, only 30 minutes, 16, 4 and 9. You want him to shoot better than 20%, but first game back, okay. Plumlee was good enough, 27 minutes, 12 and 8, 3 blocks, and you do stream him, but they've only got one more game this week. So adding him and holding him through that, and Nurkic has only got one game left of the suspension as well, I don't think that's going to be worth it. And Tyus Jones, who'd had a few really poor ones, but was good here, 21, 4 and 2 with 3 steals. Not much else, I don't think, on the Phoenix side of things. Look, again, the gap in games here is good if you do have Beal and you're worried about this injury, that maybe he's able to return and... Yeah, missed maybe only a game, but there was no Grayson Allen in this one. There was no Royce O'Neal. Both of those guys, or not both of them, O'Neal's going to be out for a little bit of time, it appears. Allen could be back in the next game. He's through the concussion protocols. He was dealing with a shoulder soreness issue, but he might be worthy of a stream. But again, don't go and add him for one more game this week. That's relatively pointless. You can just do it day of and see what value you get there. But really disappointing from Phoenix. Let's go now, and should we give out the lines of the night? We probably should. The monstrous line of the night. The monstrous line of the night sort of varied all through the day with guys sort of taking top spot. In the end, it's Austin Reaves. 35 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists. He was remarkable. The waiver wire line of the night also oscillated a lot. It was really close in the end. I am giving it to Max Strus, but Luke Kennard was right there. Strus had 15 and 4 with 2 blocks, hit some threes, and Kennard was basically right on the edge of getting that. The young gun of the night, the non-Victor Wembanyama division, goes to Stephon Castle, who had 15, 4 and 4. I'm not rushing to grab him, as I've mentioned a few times already. And your dud of the night, it's unfortunately Rui Hachimura. Yeah, he's not very good, is he? 7 and 5. People get so animated, man. This clown doesn't know what he's talking about. How dare you say Rui's not very good? I only dare to say it because it's true. Sorry. That's me. Anyway, Rui's the dud of the night. Should we give out some top sixes? We should. The top end of this monstrous line of the night battle was very, very close. Austin Reaves is right up there. Anthony Davis, Reaves was 1. Davis was 2. Jarrett Allen, Jaren Jackson, Victor Wembanyama, Kevin Durant. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander didn't even make the top 6. It was an incredibly tight top with big performances from all of those guys listed. And as I already said, the waiver wire list was like that as well. Max Strus, Luke Kennard, even Ryan Dunn put up a good game. Mason Plumlee, John Conchar, and Steph Castle. So Strus, streamable. Kennard, maybe. Dunn, no. Plumlee, you stream him in when their next game is on Friday. Conchar, worth a look. And Castle, I'm probably not looking at him in that way. If we look at the Yahoo Points League top 6 performers of the day, Davis, Reaves, Jaren Jackson, Jarrett Allen, Giannis, and Wemby. By the way, Wemby did this in like 27 minutes. And your top 6 ESPN Points League streamers, we're going with Davis, Allen, Reaves, Wembanyama, Jaren Jackson, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We did have some players leave early due to injuries as well on New Year's Eve. Some of them are not going to matter, but some of them will. Bradley Beal with the hip, if he is out, and he might be, you would stream Grayson Allen, but it might only be a one-game thing. Sam Merrill with his ankle, it's more for Strus, it's more for LeVert. I'm not going to feel super confident about those guys. And the Cavs, starting now, have 2 games in the next 7 days, so we're not going to get over the top of that and get super, super excited. And the last one is Jeremy Sohan with a back injury. Castle's the guy that started. Champagne's still probably the guy I would look at, but I'm not going to, again, I don't think that's a super, super high priority type scenario unless we hear something bad about Sohan and his back injury. But what that is it's the end. It's the end of 2024. It's the end of the recap show from New Year's Eve. It's the end of another year, but it's not the end of an NBA season. It's not the end of a fantasy season. So we're still going, we're still cranking, and you're still out here thumbing and banging and commenting and all that sort of stuff. But again, if it is New Year's Eve and the clock hasn't ticked over, or if it just has and it's early morning and you're doing whatever you're doing, 2025, it's going to be different. It's going to be better. And we're going to maintain positive mindset. We're going to be good to ourselves. We're going to be good to others. We're going to do our little bit that we can to try and make sure there's more positivity around. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.